Hello, welcome to Wolfie's Vinyl. I'm Wolfie Rankin. You know, some time ago someone said, I don't like vinyl. And they said, why? And they said, well, it's got surface noise. And they said to them, well, life has got surface noise. It's very deep, isn't it? But you know, it's true. And I don't sort of want to sit here holding up my lute, doing the DreamWorks grin and having smileys all over my video because that's what other people do anyway. It's crap. I want to just have a chat with you about things. And sometimes that's about life. I think it's important to talk about life so we get to know who we are. I don't know whether everyone's familiar with this, but the story is that my family have all had cancer. And unfortunately, as things turned out, I was the only survivor. My dad had it first, then I had it, and my sister had it. My mum probably had it, but she died before she was diagnosed, so we can't tell for sure. Anyway, towards the end of my sister's illness, her friend Mary, who was a telephonist with her in the 60s, I think, or the early 70s, I'm not sure. Just after my sister left high school. My sister was a lot older than I am. She was born 18 years before me, so I must have been quite a shock for my mum. Anyway, Mary said to her, is there anything that you haven't done that you'd like to do? And she said, well, I have never had high tea at the Windsor Hotel. My sister was quite she had posh sort of interests. I'm not really that way myself, but that's how she was. So Mary said, well, I'll take you over to the Windsor. So it was all sort of teed up, get it? Anyway, Jen was too sick when the time came, couldn't do it. So fortunately, Mary had connections because her daughter's a chef and she was able to get a few tidbits over and bring them home. And so my sister had high tea at home. It wasn't exactly the same. And she nibbled a little bit, but didn't have much. So there's this kind of like a hang that's kind of been, it's hanging over in Mary's life, that she's got this thing that was incomplete. And I said to her, well, look, I'm her brother. I know I'm not her, but would I do as a surrogate? And she thought, well, that sounds okay. That sounds like a good idea. And then we can complete this. It's all sort of cathartic experience that we're having here. And last week was all teed up and I was to go to the Windsor with Mary on Thursday, but unfortunately on Tuesday, Wolfie got a cold, didn't he? So it was all cancelled. So my nose was dripping like tap, and later on, and even now, feels like some kids come along with a jar of clag and shoved it up my ears and up my nose, and it's delightful. So I'm just getting over this. Mary's gone away to Adelaide, and I'm hoping that things can be rebooked and we can do this and get it out of our system once and for all. I'll just show you an old photo of my sister just to sort of bring it into like that. That's just a really old picture of her, probably taken in the 60s or 70s. I'm not really sure, but it's always been displayed in the lounge room. So yeah, she's got a pink top. It doesn't really come across. Oh yeah, it does kind of, and it's sort of like a blue dress. Yeah, it's very faded, this old photo. And I'm planning to take this with us to the high tea and have kind of like, I don't know how it's going to come across. Are we going to shed some tears? Are we going to have a laugh? I don't know. It's going to be difficult. And unfortunately also I had a friend who was over in Japan who had stomach cancer and died, and he was a really nice guy, and I've got another friend who was looking after him who's going through a really tough time as a result of it. It's really shocked him, screwed him up, and it's really hard to cope with. It's for the people who die, I think it's it leaves a real scar. Cancer is one of the reasons I think I don't get riled up too much about things. Yeah, I get a little bit angry about things here and there, but you have to try really hard to rile me up. Hey, I've been through cancer. It's like climbing Everest. It's probably the biggest thing that I'm ever going to do in life, and it's quite pervasive. Anyone can get it at any time for any particular reason, and I think there's a lot of health things that people read in magazines, how to avoid cancer. And to be honest, if you want the way that I feel about things, is I don't really think you can. Sure, I think you can give up smoking and drinking and doing something that's really against your body. Sure, filling yourself with fat and sugar and so forth probably helps, but I don't really know whether there's anything that you can really do to prevent it. It's just a terrible thing. It can get at you, and it can get at your family. And the best we can hope for is that someone in research comes up with something. And you see, and my gripe is that there's people out there spending, governments I'm talking about, they're spending trillions on war. And they're saying, oh, the terrorists will come. You know, it's always been terrorists, as far as I can remember. Reds under the bed, the yellow peril, you know, what next? And the thing is, people going, oh, terrorists, oh, terrorists will come and they'll do these terrible things to us. And we're dying of cancer. How many people do you know who are dying of cancer compared to how many people you know who's been terrorized? And generally the number's quite low on one end and high on the other. And the government isn't putting money into cancer as much as they're putting into warfare. And I think that stinks. I think that stinks to high heaven. In my perfect world, there wouldn't be a war. There wouldn't be wars. People wouldn't fight each other. People wouldn't give each other weapons. Weapons would be banned. There'd be peace and love and happiness and joy, and everyone would be as healthy as anything. You wouldn't have to pay a fortune to get well again. I think it makes perfect sense. Socialism. Crying socialism to me. Fuck off. I'm well and happy and healthy. I'm not broke. You know, if that's what you think, you know, if you're sitting there going, oh, it's socialism, well, fuck you. You know, I'm well. And there's other people who have benefited from free healthcare too, and they're doing well, and I'm glad of it, really. So, so that's that off my chest. How about we get into the records? Often the reason that people collect vinyl is because they like the artist and they like the music. And it might be new music that they've just heard, or it might be old music that they knew when they were a kid. And the latter is often the truth for me. But sometimes you pick up vinyl because it's just interesting and you just happen to be there and you grab it. And this came up, and it's really strange for me because it's heavy metal, and I don't know anything about heavy metal except this looks really nice. I just like the look of it, and it's been signed by the band, as you can see there, and it's open, which is something that I don't normally do because I collect records. You know what I'm like. I collect records and I listen to my MP3s and my CDs and whatnot. But this one's actually open, and it's a very attractive record. It's In Heart's Wake, by the way, the band, and they're an Australian metal band, and they're sort of fairly newish. So that's Ark there. It's a fabulous looking record, isn't it? It's just beautiful. And I don't normally, because my records are often sealed, I don't normally get to show you the really cool stuff like this, like what's inside. Now, the other thing is that I am a vinyl collector. Surprise, surprise. And, you know, I don't know anything about this band. It was just, I just grabbed it because I could. And it's got a download card for MP3s. And I'm not going to listen to it because it's not my thing. So, you know, and the other thing is, I know this. I offered it to Biosite, who's a a big heavy metal fan, and he's just fantastic to watch. He's really passionate about his genre, and I'm not really, I'm not one of these people who's going to put someone down for listening to someone else's genre. Oh, you listen to that, that's shit. That's not me. The fact that he's listening to music and he's passionate about it, and he's really passionate about it, that's great. And I really like Chris from that shop. Oh, I've forgotten, the Bull Moose. He's really good too. He likes generally different music to what I would listen to too. I'm not going to put someone down because they're listening to music. Listening to music is a wonderful thing. So anyway, I've got this card here that I want to. That I've got really no use for. And I offered it to him, and he said, "Oh, that's cool and all, but I like to listen to everything that I've got off vinyl." He's a real vinyl fan, right? So what I thought I would do is I'd give it away online. So if you think you'd like to listen to Arc, which is apparently a very cool album, and you don't have Spotify or something, and you don't want to listen to it that way, and you'd really like to have the MP3s, put your name and tell me that you like it down the bottom. PM you the code somehow, or you can get me on Twitter. Wolfie Rankin at Wolfie Rankin. That's the way to do it. You probably do it that way. That might work. Yeah, whoever wants it, whoever needs it, feels they need it. I need it. Okay, whatever. I'll send it to you, okay? What would Wolfie's vinyl be without David Bowie? So, what I did, I got this. This one's the first one that I picked up. This is No Plan, the EP, which in the back of it's etched, I believe. And the front, is it? I think, maybe. I'm not sure. I can't remember. And this is a die cut sleeve, and that's the record that you can probably see through there. Maybe you can see that. You can just barely see the label. And this one came from Bowie's website, so a little bit difficult to get. It was quite difficult to get. It sold out really, really fast. So I was very lucky to get this. What happened was I tried to order it, and everyone was going, I tried to order it, and I couldn't because it sold out. And I got onto there was a piece on the website that said, if you're trying to order it and it's sold out, just leave your name and email address, and we'll get back to you if one becomes available. And sure enough, Bowie's site in America said, hey, we've got a copy here if you want it. And I wrote back and I ordered it. So yeah, I got it. Now, there was two versions of this. This one, you might notice, is not on a die cut sleeve. You can't see the record underneath, but the record inside is apparently a blue splattery clear vinyl affair. And same record, except this is what people got for the RSD release. Okay? And it doesn't finish there. David Bowie has been touring the world, and at every stage they bring out a coloured vinyl 7-inch single and probably an album as well. And here's what came out in Barcelona. This is I'm Afraid of Americans by David Bowie, and it's on red vinyl. And I managed to get this from someone who went over to the exhibition over in Spain, España, and picked it up for me, which was wonderful. So I'm happy to have that. I suppose I'd really like to have some of the other releases. I don't know them as well. I really do know this song, so I'm happy to have this. And I've got, of course, I've got Let's Dance, which I've shown you a number of times. Some time ago, a woman by the name of Alison Moyet brought out a beautiful new album called Other. Hooray, I managed to do it. This is so shiny. It's got it's really, really, really shiny. And it's really sort of hard to find a spot to sort of show you. And this is a beautiful heavy cardboard, which I really like. And it's not on coloured vinyl, unfortunately, but it has been signed. If you look there, Alison has signed this herself, so that's bloody wonderful. I like that. I like something that's a little bit personal like that. And you can still get this on her website. So if you fancy a signed vinyl record, this is excellent. Make a great gift for someone. Definitely pick it up. Look, it's just fantastic. I've been playing it so much, and because I've got the CD, you see, and I haven't been playing the vinyl because I don't have a record player, but I have been playing the CD, or I've been listening to it on Spotify or YouTube or one of those. And I really like one called The English You. I think that is really great. There's a couple of songs on there people have said sound a bit like James Bond themes. I think Alison could totally pull one of those off. I don't know whether she's really all that happy about being compared to that, but there is a sense of that. And I'm sort of seeing James Bondish sort of images in my head when I play some of those tunes. But I like The English You because it reminds me of Mum. Mum was very fond of the language, and she'd yell at us if we said the wrong thing. What did you say? Sorry, Mum. And she hated Americanisms, and we weren't allowed to say things like cookie, The ephemera of the record pressing business, the flotsam and jetsam, often results in these bizarre things called test pressings, which you can see there. That one's signed by Alison Moyet in the cover there, on the label, sorry, right in the middle. And this is Other. This is the album Other. And it looks plain and weird, and it's got a little bit of data down the bottom about what it is. And I don't know, I'm still a bit sort of... how do you approach these things? They're quite weird. Why do you want them? Probably because they're one of the first pressings of a particular album. I suppose it's kind of nice. It sort of brings you closer to the artist or something like that. I don't know. And it's just an unusual thing to have. And I think they have a perfect right to be in a record collection, don't you? Something that's a little bit odd, and particularly if you like an album, you can say, well, I've got one of the first pressings. So this is like an unofficial thing that shouldn't have gone out to the public, but these days. So anyway, so this is Alison Moyet's Other as a test pressing. So occasionally I say when I've bought these albums that I've got the CD, and I do in this case. So I can listen to that, and I certainly have. But the other unusual thing is, check this out, it's a cassette. I've never bought cassettes before. This is the first cassette I've ever bought in my entire life. And the reason is that I don't exactly trust them. In my experience, tapes often get chewed up in the recording mechanism. And I hate that, especially, in the old days, I didn't have much money. In fact, I had very little, and to perhaps bought a cassette only for it to get chewed up would have been really annoying. So I always preferred to get either a vinyl record or a CD when they came out, when they were available. But CDs came out in 1984. I was able to get CDs, but before then it was all vinyl. So this is the first actual cassette that I've ever picked up. I just thought I'd pick it up because it was novel. It's just unusual. So unusual. And so there it is. So you've all seen a cassette before. Unlike that meme that goes around that says millennials don't know how to do that thing with a pencil and the cassette. So, yeah, but they do. So there you go. Cassettes are back, kind of. So what do you think? Would you buy a cassette or not? Leave a comment in the thing, like they say in the other videos, if you want. Quite often when an artist releases a new album, they release a few other things with it. It might include a poster, it might be a test pressing, as you saw, It might be a t-shirt or something else. Alison's bought out this for her record, and it's a print of other. It's the text, the lyrics, if you will, of other, the song that appears on her other album, which is really rather amusing. And she's going to have an other concert as well. By the way, Alison's coming here in Melbourne in October, and apparently Nile Rodgers is going to be here with Lionel Richie at the same time, virtually just across the road from where Alison's going to be performing, which is quite nice. So the other tour is happening right now. If you want to go to it, it'll be brilliant. And she's going to sing a lot of her older stuff as well, stuff from the Minutes and also from her solo career, and some of the Yazoo stuff. So that sounds great. So anyway, there's that. It's on been printed on a sort of a solid cardboard thing. So that's different. I haven't got anything like this, and I think what I'll probably end up doing is framing it. I don't know yet, but I'll see. But I did frame something else. So I have one last thing to show you, and it's this. Now, it's important to note that the frame does not come with it. The frame is something that I went and bought with my own two little paws at a local shopping centre. So don't be expecting a frame if you buy this. This is a lino print that Alison has done herself, if I can not get any light on it. And it's quite large. It's A3. That's better. I think that's quite all right. And I think it looks nice. And if you look at it closely, it's got little flecks of gold in it. Because there's a bit of a gold layer as well. Down near her feet, you can sort of see it a little bit better. It's not really showing up too well on the camera, but it is there. And it's signed, but the signature is a print. So don't expect it to be an actual signature. Still, it's a limited edition, and this is 62 of 150 I've got in my hot little hands right now. So, what do you think? You think that's a nice little thing to put up in my music room? I think it is. I think it looks nice. And also, the thing is, I know Alison via Twitter, and I think that makes it all just a little bit more personal. I think she's a great person, and I really hope that she has an excellent tour, and I hope Other becomes one of her biggest selling albums. Not that she's really all that worried about that. She just wants people to get into the art of it, I think, and I think that's a good thing. I think a lot of the time it's money that sort of gets in the way of art. It's either corrupted to end up sponsoring some commercial thing, and you don't sort of want. Do you want your music on car ads and coffee ads and things like that? Is that really cool? Or I don't know. And just to have a record company say to you, "Oh, this is nice, but could you make it more dancey or something?" And I think that's really kind of yuck. I don't like that at all. Whereas if you can be in a situation where you can put a record out there and say to your fans, well, here it is, check it out, see if you like it. If you don't like it, it doesn't matter. If you like it, well, great, that's fine. I think that's a much better way to sort of approach things, because art is us trying to get our feelings down onto paper, or onto canvas, or onto a vinyl record. And I think we should, respect artists and say, well, look at what they're putting out there, and seeing it doesn't matter. So if we get into it, I'm stumbling over myself. I'm getting really annoyed with myself at the moment. Yeah, but you know what I mean. I'd really like to be in a world where an artist could say, "Hey, I've done this. Come and have a look at it." And I do, and whether I like it or not, it really doesn't matter. It's there and it's been done. And it's a person doing something beautiful rather than something horrible. And there's too many things going on in this world that are horrible, and I'd much rather some beautiful artwork. So yeah, so if you can sit down there and do an hour's worth with your pencils or something, or sing or play an instrument, even if it's bad, just do it and feel some enjoyment from it. I think that's a great way to be. Now, don't forget, as I said before, if you walk into a shop and there's a can there to raise money for cancer research, drop a coin in for me. I'd really like that. Doesn't matter if it's that much, 10 cents, 50 cents, great, $1, cool. Please do it, because I think cancer is a terrible thing that can affect you at any moment, whether it's you personally or someone in your family or someone in someone else's family. And it's a terrible thing to watch someone go through that, and to watch the family go through that as well. So, unfortunately, we do live in a world where trillions of dollars go to warfare, which is dreadful. When all that money could have probably gone to research, and everything may have been solved by now. And I'd really like that to be the case, rather than... I mean, war is a really horrible, scary thing, and I really don't understand either why people want to play with it on a video game either. It's just something that even that really quite revolts me. So, oh, it's fantasy. No, it's not. It's revolting. It's kind of like just some sort of porn, in my case, I think. Not that I'm down on porn. I don't mind sex. I think sex is okay, but I think this violent porn, you know what I mean? Violence. I don't like it at all. I've never been a fan of it, and I don't think there's any need for it. So, yeah. But anyway, that's it for me today. I've had my long chat, and I've got it all off my chest, and I've shown you my goodies. And if you want to chat to me or at any stage, please do, and I'd like that. And you can get me on Twitter, you can get me on Facebook, and a number of other things as well. I'm around, it's like that. So, yeah, thank you for watching. See you later.